And we're back here at Boom and Bust with my guest, Bruce Heyman. He is the former U.S. ambassador to Canada. Bruce, talking about Canada-U.S. relations. Sometimes you talked about all the noise on Capitol Hill, and but the actual work that gets done. Where should Canadian policymakers direct their attention? Is it the Capitol? Is it the White House? Is it the American public? Is it the governors? Maybe it's a combination of all those things. But how do we get into that process so we can have some harmonious agreements?
So I have a very specific piece of advice right now for Canada and Canadians as you think about these next few years going ahead. And that is, I would look very specifically at the relationship with U.S. governors, and I would look very specifically at corporations that you have a strong relationship with, and where U.S. corporations are investing on both sides of the border, and we're working together. And I would invest the relationship there. We have the USMCA, CUSMCA, all of the CUSMA, and we have that. It's 99% of all the trade that we do is tariff-free, and we've got a lot worked out. Sure, there are going to be things that we need to work on at the edges on the trade, and we'll leave that to the ambassadors and our two governments to do that. But if you want to cement the relationship, and I'm going to tell you what my fear is. When my fear is I turn on and I see a guy like Tucker Carlson slamming the Canadians and the Canadian government, and Joe Rogan going on his podcast and making very extreme statements. Understand that these people may be part of the noise that will come in the next administration. So where do you want those relationships? You're going to need them on the local basis. And Canada has demonstrated an ability to develop those relationships with all of your consulates, with all of your premiers working together. And you did it in your negotiations under let's call it the new NAFTA agreement. And so I'd refocus my efforts regionally right now. And by the way, some number of those governors may be running for president here, whether it's 2 years or 6 years from now, in sometime in the future, they all have strong political aspirations. And I think it would behoove of the Canadians to have strong relationships at that level, because any one of them could emerge going forward. Republicans and Democrats, both sides of the aisle, you got to do it.
I've got you on my program. I have to ask. I know where you stand on Democrats versus Republicans, but look, Joe Biden has had a few wins in the last few weeks. Tell us what your take is on the upcoming midterms and in the future.
Midterms are always challenging for every president, regardless of party. Almost every president has lost a large number of seats during the midterms. And this was on its path to look similar to that, I would say just even a month or 2 months or 3 months ago. But some things have changed. And I think the turn on Roe v. Wade has changed significantly. You saw it in the vote in Kansas, and you saw it in many of these local contests. You're seeing an energized voter base, which doesn't normally happen in the midterms. Second, this gun violence is out of control. And these AR-15s, and I think people are getting awfully fed up, and there are going to be a turnout of people that will be really focused on that. If there is any reduction with regard to the price of gasoline at the pump and food as we get closer to Election Day, those other issues will rise. And I think that there may be some surprises at the upside. I think the Democrats have a really good chance at even adding seats in the Senate. And I think the House, it's going to be a challenge, but not a zero challenge. And it's worth fighting for and working for. But I think people need to see what's happening. And I think what's happened over the last few months is that this becomes now a race against Donald Trump between the January 6th hearings, between what he's doing and promoting certain candidates out there, Roe v. Wade, gun violence. It then becomes an election against Donald Trump, which is not where the Republicans actually want to be.